Saturday, September 14th, 2013. The 34-year-old man walked into Sharpshooter's small arms range and pro shop in Lorton, Virginia. He could be described in a very simple term: average. Nothing about him that makes you look twice. However, he enters the store with purpose. His eyes are already fixed on what he came for, only breaking away long enough to engage the employee behind the counter. He knows what he wants. The decision was made long before he walked through that door. He doesn't hesitate. He opens his wallet, counts out $419 in cash, and slides it across the counter. He has just purchased a 12-gauge Remington 870 shotgun. But wait, is the deal done? Will the background check change the destiny of this man and the 15 others whose lives hang in the balance of what happens next? There is no denial, no flag, no warning. The background check clears without a hitch. The weapon is his. As he turns to leave, something behind the counter catches his eye. An AR-15. He pauses. Curiosity or something darker takes over. He wants to hold it, and it's obvious. The employee hands it across the counter. The man works the action of the weapon back, forward, feels the weight shift in his hands, even raises it slightly as if lining up an imaginary shot. He lowers it. This is not what he came for. He hands it back. He has a mission. The shotgun is the plan. The average man turns and walks out. The key card easily slides into the lock of the door of his room at the Residence Inn, located about a mile from the Navy Yard. He hears the click and steps inside. The room is dim. The curtains still drawn from the night before. He sets down his $419 purchase, reaches over, and switches on the light. It falls directly onto the weapon, a 12-gauge Remington 870. Solid, purposeful. He studies it for a moment, admires the clean lines, the weight, the authority of it. Then his jaw tightens. It won't work the way it is. It's too long, too visible, too obvious. It has to be different. That's the only way this works. The room is quiet, the kind of quiet that is only interrupted by what he is about to do. The sound starts low, back and forth, back and forth. The faint whisper of a saw blade, its short teeth working deliberately, patiently, removing the smallest pieces of metal with each pass. A dull thud as a section of steel barrel hits the floor. A heavier thud as most of the wooden stock follows. On the floor around him, shavings of wood and steel, the remnants of what was once a factory-built weapon, now something else entirely. He sets down the saw, and then, like a craftsman from another century, he begins carving into the receiver of the shotgun. He etches 4 phrases. Better off this way. My ELF weapon. Not what you all say. End to the torment. He sets the weapon down. It's time to rest. Let me take a moment before we go any further into this story. You just heard the setup, you felt the tension, and if you're new here, welcome to After Action, part of the Are We Good podcast. Are We Good is built around one core belief, that the information most people never get, the warning signs, the missed calls, the systematic failures, is exactly the information that could protect them. Whether you lead an organization, manage a team, work in security, healthcare, education, or you're simply someone who cares about the safety of the people around you, this is for you. After Action is where we go deep on real incidents, real failures, and real lessons that anyone can use. This is where I take the stories you've heard about, the ones that made the news, the ones that are hard to hear. And we don't just sit in the tragedy. We move through it, because every one of these incidents, every single one, leaves behind something more than grief. It leaves behind lessons. What did organizations miss? What warning signs were there? What should leaders and anyone paying attention know and do differently so that your story never becomes the next one I'm telling? That's what After Action is all about. Tragedy to lesson every time. Now let's dive back in. 2 days have passed. He is on schedule. The average man awakes, moves through the room with quiet efficiency. The disassembled saw is tucked away. The wood shavings have been wiped up. The sawed-off weapon wrapped and buried at the bottom of a backpack that looks like it belongs to any typical IT contractor heading into work. He shoulders it, grabs his key card, and steps into the hall. He pushes through the exterior door into the thick, warm air of a Washington September morning, the kind that reminds you summer hasn't quite let go. He crosses the parking lot to his car. He places the backpack in the trunk of his rented Toyota Prius and starts the short drive to work. It's the morning of September 16th. He pulls up to the guardhouse at the Washington Navy Yard. He knows exactly what to do. He reaches into his pocket and produces his identification card, holding it out to the guard. The guard studies his name, Aaron Alexis. It's a common access card. It's routine. There are no questions, no second look. Because on paper, he belongs there. The guard waves him through and he drives onto one of the most secure military installations in the entire country. He parks, he grabs his bag. He's just a contractor heading in for the week. He's been working an IT contract here for Hewlett-Packard, refreshing computer equipment on the Navy Marine Corps' intranet network. He was on this property just the week before. He knows the building, he knows the floors, he knows the layout. He's expected. He has credentials, he has clearance. Building 197 is the headquarters of the Naval Sea Systems Command, NAVSEA. Nearly 3,000 civilian employees and contractors report here every day. It's a Monday morning in mid-September. Coffee cups, keyboards, the ordinary rhythm of a government workday. Nobody on the inside knows what's in that bag. Let's stop the clock for just a moment. Because what happened in the weeks before September 16th is where this story shifts from tragic to something that should make every leader in every organization lean forward in their seat. August 7th, 40 days before the shooting. Alexis is in Newport, Rhode Island, working a temporary assignment at the naval station. He walks into a police station and files a report. He tells officers that people are following him, that he can hear voices through the walls of his hotel, that someone is using, and these are his actual words, some sort of microwave machine to send vibrations into his body, keeping him from sleeping. Newport police take him seriously enough to contact the naval station directly. That contact goes nowhere. A few nights after that, naval police are called to his hotel. They walk into his room and find the mattress and frame completely dismantled, pulled apart, because he is convinced someone is hiding beneath it. On the ceiling above his bed, a microphone taped up there by Alexis himself to capture the voices he believes are following him. He is not removed from his assignment. His access is not reviewed. Nobody refers him for evaluation. August 23rd, Alexis walks himself into a Providence emergency room complaining of insomnia. He is treated and he is released. His employer, the subcontracting firm called The Experts, is told about these incidents. So is Hewlett-Packard, who oversees the contract. Nobody pulls his badge. Nobody pulls his clearance. Nobody makes the call that changes what's coming. 3 weeks later, Aaron Alexis reports back to work. It's 8 minutes after 8 in Building 197. The surveillance cameras inside Building 197 record what appears to be an unremarkable Monday morning arrival. A man enters through the main doors, backpack in hand. The building has ID screening. It has security checkpoints at the entrance. It does not have metal detectors. Alexis takes the stairs to the 4th floor, the floor he knows the best. This is the floor he had worked on the previous week. He finds a men's restroom at the end of the corridor. He pushes through the door. The fluorescent light flickers once, then holds. He moves to the far stall, closes the door, and latches it behind him. He sets the backpack on the floor and unzips it slowly. His hands move without hesitation. This isn't something he's figuring out. This was decided long ago. He removes the weapon, already sawed, already carved, already named, and he loads it. He shoulders the backpack as he walks out. The weapon is inside it, loaded, ready, and waiting. It's 16 minutes after 8 a.m. He finds a position overlooking the open atrium, a wide, multi-story space where Building 197's daily foot traffic flows through. He raises the weapon. He fires. Double-aught buckshot, each shell packed with roughly a dozen steel pellets, each one capable of doing catastrophic damage in that open atrium with people below. The math is brutal. The boom of a 12 gauge in an enclosed space is not something you mistake for anything else. And in that building on that Monday morning, every single person within earshot instantly understands that something has gone terribly wrong. People run, people hide, people scramble under desks and into closets and stairwells. Alexis moves floor to floor, deliberate. By 8:20, just 4 minutes after the first shot, 8 people are dead on the 4th floor. He moves to the 3rd floor where he extinguishes 2 more lives. He descends to the 1st floor where the front entrance security officer is at his post. Alexis shoots him and takes his 9mm Beretta. He is now more armed than when he walked in. Law enforcement from Naval District, Washington arrives within 7 minutes of the first shot. MPD tactical units are right behind them. Armed officers pour into the building and the hunt begins. A floor-by-floor pursuit through a building filled with people hiding, the air heavy with smoke and the sound of distant screams. At 9:25, 69 minutes after Aaron Alexis pulled that trigger for the first time, he is shot and killed by responding law enforcement officers. 12 innocent people did not go home that day, and 3 others carried their injuries out with them. Here is where this story becomes something that should make your blood run cold, not because of the violence, but because of what was known and ignored. Aaron Alexis was not a mystery. He was not a ghost who appeared out of nowhere. He had a history, filed away history that painted a clear and deeply troubling picture of who he was, and almost none of it was ever connected. 2004 in Seattle, he was arrested for shooting out the tires of a construction worker's vehicle. His reason? He felt disrespected. He told investigators it came on like a blackout, an anger so consuming he couldn't control it. The case is not prosecuted. And then in 2007 in Fort Worth, Texas, he fires a gun through his apartment ceiling into the unit directly above because his upstairs neighbor was being too noisy. He was arrested, but not prosecuted. And then in 2008 in Georgia, he was arrested again, this time for disorderly conduct. 3 arrests, firearms involved in 2 of them, rage as the common thread. From 2007 to 2011, he serves as a Navy reservist. And during those 4 years, he racks up 8 separate misconduct citations. His superiors considered giving him a general discharge, which is a step below honorable, a mark that certainly can follow you. Instead, they let him resign early. He walks out with an honorable discharge. And not only that honorable discharge, but a secret security clearance issued in 2008 and valid through 2017 that nobody has seen any reason to pull. The Navy never shared his disciplinary record with security clearance investigators. That information simply did not make it into his file. In 2012, his clearance comes up for renewal. A private contractor named USIS handles the review. This is the same company that the federal government paid $253 million that year to vet its personnel. USIS's background check looks back 7 years. That window conveniently excludes his 2004 arrest. There is no mental health review, no interviews with former supervisors. There is clearly this unexplained gap in his employment history that nobody questions. The Office of Personnel Management, the federal government's own clearinghouse for this process, later confirmed that it failed to include his history of aggressive behavior or any mental health concerns in the file that it forwarded to the Navy. His employer, the experts, run 2 background checks before putting him on the contract. Their conclusion? No issues other than 1 minor traffic violation. 52 convicted felons had routine, unauthorized access to U.S. naval facilities at the time of this shooting. It's not a rumor, not an exaggeration. That finding comes directly from the Department of Defense Inspector General's report. The system wasn't overwhelmed. It was understaffed. It was broken, and 12 people paid the price. This is not a story, though, about the federal government's failures. Well, not entirely. This is a story about what happens when an organization, yours, mine, anyone's, treats a background check as the finish line instead of the starting line. Let's talk about what you can take away from this. First, a background check is a snapshot. It's not a safety net. Aaron Alexis passed every check he was ever given, not because the system caught him and gave him a pass, but because the system was looking through a narrow window at incomplete information. Think about your own organization. Do you know what your background screening actually covers? What is the look back window? Who is conducting the check and how thoroughly? What happens when concerning information surfaces about someone who is already credentialed and inside your doors? If you can't answer those questions with confidence, you have a gap, and gaps have consequences. Second, the danger didn't walk in on day one, it grew. On the day Aaron Alexis received his security clearance, he may not have been the man who walked into building 197, but he became that man, visibly, measurably, over time. Hotel staff saw it. Police documented it. A hospital treated him for it. His employer was told about it. The information existed. What didn't exist was a system to take that information seriously, to evaluate it, connect it, and act on it. That system is called a behavioral threat assessment team, a structured process of people, protocol, and responsibility for identifying threatening behavior before it becomes violence. If your organization doesn't have one, this story is your reason to build it. Third, access is a living decision. Treat it that way. A clearance granted in 2008, renewed on autopilot in 2012, still opening doors in 2013 while the man holding it was coming apart at the seams in ways that were documented, reported, and ignored. Access to your people, your facilities, your systems is not a one-time decision. It requires ongoing awareness. When someone's behavior changes, access should be reviewed. Credentials should not run on autopilot while the person holding them stops being who they were when you issued them. Fourth, your contractors are your responsibility. The experts ran the check and found nothing. Hewlett-Packard was notified and didn't act. The Navy granted facility access and never revoked it. Each organization pointed somewhere else. When a contractor, vendor, or third party has access to your people or your space, your duty of care doesn't end at your own employee roster. You are responsible for requiring the same standards, for following up on red flags, and for acting when the picture in front of you demands it. We outsource the background check is not a defense. It is simply the explanation of how it happened. And finally, warning signs are organizational intelligence, not someone else's problem. Count the people who saw something in Aaron Alexis' final weeks. Hotel staff watching a man knock on strangers' doors at 2 a.m, hunting for voices. A Newport police officer taking a report from someone describing microwave persecution and writing it up seriously enough to contact the naval station. Naval police stepping into a dismantled hotel room and finding a ceiling microphone. An emergency room that treated him for insomnia and sent him back out into the world. Supervisors who were told their contractor was coming apart. Every single one of these touch points was handled as a standalone, isolated event. Nobody owned the full picture. Organizations that successfully prevent violence build the infrastructure to connect these dots. They create cultures where reporting is expected, not optional, not awkward, not my place. They put someone in a position of responsibility to look at the whole picture and ask the question that for 3,000 people on that Monday morning, nobody had asked. So seriously, ask yourself, are we good? Aaron Alexis did not slip through the cracks. He walked through a door held open by a system that collected information it never shared, renewed credentials it never questioned, and employed a man it never truly knew. There were people at multiple points along the way who had enough information to change the outcome and didn't. That door isn't a government door. It's in hospitals and universities, corporate headquarters and manufacturing plants, schools, nonprofits, and small businesses. It might be in your building right now. The question has never been whether warning signs will surface. The question is whether anyone in your organization is watching for them and whether they know what to do when they appear. If you would like a one-page summary of the important lessons from today's episode to share with your organization or anyone who cares about safety in the workplace, go to our website at arewegood.net to download a copy. And one last thing, if After Action hit the way we hoped it would, we need to know that. Not because we're chasing numbers, but because episodes like this one take real time, real research, and real commitment to get it right. Your support is what makes the next one possible. Hit the like button on whatever platform you're on. Hit the subscribe button. It's free and it signals to the platforms that this content matters. And if you know someone who leads a team, manages a building, runs a school, works in healthcare, or just cares about the safety of the people around them, share this with them. That's how we reach the people who really need this the most. This is what we believe Are We Good is for. Information that protects people. Stories that don't just haunt you, but rather change what you do next. So thank you for being a part of that. I'm Jim Bennett for Are We Good? And as always, before disaster strikes, ask that most important question. Are we good?